was Mason Gillis on his feet, actually playing some minutes. He had left that game late in the first with a little injury or impalement, but he was back and playing. I think the other improvement Purdue had yesterday was just overall better defensive energy. As we see Ethan Morton actually suited up today, we'll see if he gets some minutes. Purdue restored their defensive energy, at least the summer defensive energy it was, winning convincingly.
Take a look at what's ahead for Purdue. It's SKN St. Polten here in Austria, and then BKBRNO to wrap things up on Monday morning. Looks like we've got a special ball boy here getting ready to toss it up. After all, this is an exhibition game, and the folks in Austria very much enjoying that the preseason top 5 team is spending some time here.
Well, Purdue has done a fantastic job, not only with their students that can travel the world, see some different spots, but anytime you sneak in those 3 games in 3 days, the juice is getting flowing. I want to see Purdue's stamina towards the second half of this, but first and foremost, we got one of their better starting 5 options for this trip available today.
That's Fletcher Lawyer, Miles Colvin, Braden Smith, the 3 guards, Trey Kaufman-Wren, and Caleb First, the 2 forwards. We are underway. We'll see how much legs the Boilers have under them. They've played a couple games the last couple days and had a little more strenuous travel in between yesterday and today, but Caleb First doesn't seem to mind the conditions as he muscles in the game's opening bucket.
Well, good play by Kaufman-Wren early in that possession. Did not force his dribble, ultimately backed his defender down. And interior passing, always a good sign to see when bigs are on the same page.
Well, there's Braden Smith. He was terrific in the opening game in Munich against Kix Ebam at 22 points, 12 assists. Wasn't really focused on scoring yesterday, only had 3 points, but he dished out another 11 assists. And this guy, we saw him set the Purdue single-season freshman assist record with 153 last season. Wazzy, I don't think it's going out on much of an olive branch to say that this guy's going to have even more assists this year as he lines up an open 3 and grabs the miss.
And the opportunity aplenty as we see Kaufman-Wren with a good paint cut. Smith is a guy that can go in a couple gears. He can get his in transition, but the reality of not having Zach Edey quite yet for any of these games, that's another assist machine for Braden Smith.
Caleb First is able to break up the entry pass, and it's last touched by SKN St. Polten. So we've already seen Braden Smith dish out an assist here in the first minute and change. 4 10-minute quarters here overseas. Miles Colvin from up top, off the heel, and an offensive rebound for First. He puts it back in. Caleb First with 4 of the first 6 for Purdue, and the Boilers have scored all 3 of their field goals in the paint.
The engagement of the Polten bigs right now, not keeping up with Purdue's energy on the inside. With 3 officials in this game, everything will be more on point than the other 2. Purdue's defense has been outstanding, forcing these types of shots.
Just 2 officials the last couple of games as Braden Smith comes back into the front court as St. Polten goes one and done again, and Trey Kaufman-Wren with a soft finish. They are taking advantage on the inside, and now Colvin gets tripped up. Matt Painter has to love the energy early.
That was lackluster from the home team. They were actually warming up in the same colored jerseys they flipped just before tip. Not sure if flipping to the home jerseys for the home team was the right prescription, but Purdue, as I indicated yesterday, their defensive energy and rhythm, as Lawyer gets another good look, they've had more deflections of the ball. I thought their paint presence was far superior. They'll keep finding shots like this. This is going to be an easy evening game.
Chance for a bucket for SKN Polten, and they can't finish at the rim. Ripped away by Caleb First. There's Lawyer setting up TKR. He flashes the leather. Bounces out to First as Purdue resets in their half court. TKR rolling towards the rim. Had it knocked away, circles back around and flips in 2 more. So it's been Trey Kaufman-Renn and Caleb First combining for the first 10.
Well, you see Mike Coffin, the head coach there at SKN, on the sideline there, imparting his bench to maybe have a little bit more energy. The reality is you run through a shooter, lawyer going to be called on that. When bigs can dribble through a painted area and shoot either-handed layups, that's not a great sign for your defense. Purdue almost caught off guard right now with the non-combativeness of this Polten interior defense.
Nearly identical stat lines put together by Trey Kaufman-Renn, certainly a breakout candidate this upcoming season for Purdue. He had 16 points, 8 rebounds a couple nights ago, had 15 points, 8 rebounds yesterday, and not wasting any time with 6 of the first 10 Purdue points here. A split of the defense, a step back three, and it rattles out. Rebounded by Caleb First. So Purdue has still held SKN St. Polten scoreless as they try and push this lead. Nobody's had an answer for Trey Kaufman-Renn early. Across the floor, he sets up an open Miles Colvin and making a baker's dozen to start the game for Purdue.
Colvin, I talked about his father yesterday and the shooting touch he may not have had. That youngster has a pure release, and just imagine it, Boiler fans. When Zach Edey is skipping opposite to a wide open Colvin, they've got to worry about guys like Smith and, of course, Lawyer. These are seamless passes for beautiful follow-throughs.
Trey Kaufman-Renn says, look out below. It's 15-0 Purdue.
Now the Boilers on point on offense, and even a couple of their defensive scenarios here. They've hedged some on-ball screens, but you have the ability with these two bigs, call them power forwards. They can interchange, close out on the perimeter. Polten's in trouble here offensively.
Maybe a chance at some points finally, almost halfway through this opening quarter. Miles Colvin, you talked about his shooting touch. Team high 16 points, knocked down 3 trays yesterday. Knocked down his only open look of the opening minutes here. And you can't help but feel like the defense has been just as impressive as the offense so far. Still scoreless here with 5:44 left in the opening quarter. Purdue had no troubles yesterday with B.G. Hessing. 92-57 winners. They shot 49% from the field. Hit 12 of 30 triples as they finally watch the opposition put one in the copper. Hasn't been much of an answer on this end from SKN St. Polten. Kaufman-Renn whips it inside. First spins to his left and scores again.
Another ability to throw it in the post with either hand. First, so much more active than that first game. Nicely done.
Tough take to the rim. Altered by First. And here comes Miles Colvin with a finger roll finish. It is all Purdue early.
Yeah, early in this game, both coaches were kind of sitting down, almost subdued. I'm not sure if Painter and his crew knew exactly what they were getting into, but this is not as competitive as the last 2 days. Credit Purdue with not changing their standards of open looks and transition games. It's not your responsibility to let the other team score, or in that matter, stop you. The 5-on-5 substitution I thought was a great ploy by Painter. It, of course, a summertime strategy, but it kind of gave everyone a chance to know their slotted minutes and how much they'd get to play.
Camden Hyde was one of the better Boilers yesterday. He had 15 points. Comes off the bench with Lance Jones, Will Berg, Caleb Gillis from straight away. Tried to chase down that long rebound and ran into some of the signage here in Austria.
What were the assistants doing there? Coach Lutz, who's that? That's Terry Johnson, right? You got to save your people. They're going in through there at all costs. Save your man. I say that jokingly. Gillis, the toughest guy on the team. He's played through everything. You see the nose gear, you see the headband. When Purdue needs energy, they put 0 in the game.
Well, second chance points. That's the first field goal for SKN St. Polten, and took them almost 6 minutes. We saw Gillis leave Purdue's first overseas game with some cramping a couple of days ago. Foul on the big man on the inside. Will Berg received the entry pass.
Chris, right over there by above Lance Jones's head there, very end of the bench is Ethan Morton. He'd been in Birkenstocks and flip-flops yesterday. He's actually suited up. It could just be a warm-up opportunity for him to get his shoes, get some shots in. Doesn't appear that he'll be in the rotation, but of course Ethan Morton is stable in what Purdue's perimeter defense is.
Ethan Morton has been dealing with a hamstring injury. Didn't even play in last week's scrimmage before Purdue went overseas. Lance Jones with a smooth fadeaway jump shot from the baseline.
Well, when shooters are in rhythm, whether it's a 4-hour drive or not, Purdue seems to have upticked even yesterday's defensive energy into some offensive symmetry. Sharing and shooting, one of the best parts of basketball, whether it's transition or coming off screens.
They'll stay here with the Boilers. SKN St. Polten looking for any type of answer to try and get them back in the game here. They trail 21-3 with almost 7 minutes off the clock. Jones again, and he's 2 for 2.
I say it all the time, as a shooter, whether you're old, whether you're young, when you have your feet in rhythm and it leads to your release in a fluid motion, those percentages go way up. I think Boiler fans are really looking forward to how Lance Jones, and I think in some part, Matt Painter will have to figure out the dynamics between the guards of Smith and Jones. They're both solid ball handlers, of course, creative in transition. But I want to see how those two play together. We know how much Lawyer and Smith were effective as youngsters. Now you got an elder statesman in there running the point, but can also shoot and create.
Jones was able to force a turnover after hitting his second jump shot in the early going. Camden Heidi way off balanced and off the side of the backboard, and the officials will blow play dead.
Shot clock violations for a couple of these squads. It shouldn't happen much for the home team, but for Purdue playing with that 24 clock, they made the adjustment after the first couple possessions of the first game 2 days ago. Both squads are a little lackluster here, but Purdue is way more formally engaged this last 3.5 quarters. Can't foul shooters.
There are 4 Boilers in double figures in yesterday's 92-point performance. This pace certainly calls for reaching the century mark. We'll see if Purdue can keep it up the final 3 quarters, but offense has been easy to come by, and there haven't been many second chance opportunities on the other end for SKN St. Polten.
I have a feeling Purdue will keep their offense pretty basic today. They won't force actions, but all the interweavings of bigs coming to the high post, their guards and their cross screen, down screen, it's going to provide a bunch of open looks like that for Gillis in the corner. You know, Gillis, the Little League World Series participant back in his youth. I know when he gets back to the States, he'll be checking in. Partner, you're a fan of that baseball system. I saw some close games in the qualifications before they head out to Pennsylvania and find their fun.
That's a fun time of year for all that, and you mix in some of these international exhibition hoops, and not just Purdue here. I mean, there's a lot of top programs throughout the country in the midst of foreign tours right now, and it's become a big staple in college basketball. And can't help but feel like in the next handful of years, you're going to see some of these games being televised more and more. Brian Waddell with a strong finish.
Well, the painted area for Purdue, we say the paint crew back in Mackey, it's more defensive oriented, but it's the paint crew offensive layups and dunks for the Boilers right now. This is easy driving lanes against this Polten defense.
50-50 ball wound up in the ready hands, but no finish. Lance Jones finds an open Gillis, and he splashes in the three. A timeout taken by SKN St. Polten. Well, Purdue's hitting a lot of shots here early. They've got a sizable lead with 90 seconds left in the opening quarter. It's 28-5. The Boilers on top. Looks like we were going to take a timeout, but I think we'll stay here and finish up the final minute 29 of this opening quarter. It would have called for a timeout usually, but SKN St. Polten will keep on playing through with the intermission break ahead.
Well, you don't get the feeling that Mike Coffin, the head coach of St. Polten today, has his full repertoire of players. Has really not gotten off of his seat there as the home fans trying to impart their home team to find some shots. You look at this Purdue squad, Waddell's a great example of it. How is he going to earn his minutes this year? There's a myriad of players kind of his size and guys that have produced before him. Got a great body type, of course, great smarts and great pedigree with his father at Purdue. But you got to find minutes and earn your time, making plays the way he did before, and consistently playing defense will be a Purdue calling mark for minutes played.
Mason Gillis has scored 5 in a row for Purdue. They balloon this lead to 25 before the end of the first quarter. SKN St. Polten, they've only hit one shot from the field. And Jones is fouled as he makes his way across half court. That will not count, but that's a pretty good indicator of how this opening quarter's gone for the Boilers.
Well, a lot of tell is what you see in the assistants in a game, whether it's competitive or not. Purdue standard, and they don't do it every possession, but virtually more than any in the country. They'll always have that whiteboard, that grease board out calling and instituting what action they want. Little middle screen here with Berg. Jones decides to shoot it.
And Jones, after the jump shot miss, commits the reach-in foul. Well, 5 starters are back for Purdue this season. Mentioned that Zach Edey's not on the trip. The Wooden Award winner playing with his Canadian national team, getting ready for FIBA World Cup action. How much do you think playing with some NBA guys in the FIBA is going to help Zach Edey come to college basketball season, Wazzy?
Not so much to college, I would imagine, but as with all good and young people, you've got to look forward to your next endeavor, and I think it'll be a tremendous learning curve as Purdue hot from 20, 30, and Waddell with another one. We'll talk more on Edey when we return, but for Boilers putting up big numbers.
33-5. You kind of expected that to balanced buzzer beater to balloon this lead at the end of one quarter. Well, quite the opening quarter put together by Purdue. The Boilers up 33-5 over SKN St. Polten. Ryan Waddell put the exclamation point on the dominant 10-minute stretch from Purdue. The Boilermakers used 10 guys, line change in between, and not much changed as far as the game. Braden Smith nearly forced a turnover. SKN St. Polten only one make from the field. Got their other points from the free throw line that opening quarter, and maybe a chance to get back to the free throw line here. Caleb First commits the foul. It was First and Trey Kaufman-Renn that fueled a 13-0 start for Purdue, and then everybody else got into the act. Braden Smith resets, lobs it inside. First couldn't finish, and it misses the iron. That's a shot clock violation. It developed a little too late there for Purdue, and a rare empty possession here in Austria. Nice block on the interior to reject First. Trey Kaufman-Renn grabs the loose ball, and he's got two more for Purdue. Miles Colvin with the step through and draws a foul. There's a lot to like about Miles Colvin, Wazzy. Not only the ability to shoot it from the outside as she's showcased here in these international games, but with a 6'5" frame, you feel like he's a guy that can be disruptive on defense, and eventually as he gets comfortable with his new teammates at Purdue, maybe a guy that can facilitate a little bit as well. Trey Kaufman-Renn has his sweet spot here in Austria. It's 39-6 Purdue. It's another big game for Trey Kaufman-Renn, who dropped 16 in the opener, had 15 yesterday, into double figures already in this first half. This time it's Caleb first. And everything has come easy on the inside for the Boilermakers. Another miss from SKN St. Polten. Braden Smith on the attack. No look bounce pass. Caleb first puts it in, plus the foul. Purdue was perfect at the free throw line in their opening victory, 10 for 10. Did miss a dozen at the foul line, 16 of 28 yesterday. Miles Colvin with a strong finish. Boilermakers up 40. Trey Kaufman-Renn steps into a good look from deep. Purdue having no troubles at all here in Austria. Whistling a foul. We'll have a chance for SKN St. Polten to add a little bit to this very tough effort so far. Been pretty abysmal. 6 points in almost 15 minutes of basketball here. And you get to a point now for Purdue where these guys are playing their third game in 3 nights. Maybe you won't see much of the regulars at all in the second half. Been an empty first half from above the three-point line for SKN St. Polten as Colvin had it knocked out of bounds. Well, you see Matt Painter and the rest of that coaching staff in the background. They're sitting down. They might be kicking their feet up soon. Camden Hyde commits the foul. It'll lead to 3 free throws for SKN St. Polten. You do wonder if there will be a conversation at halftime about maybe running the clock at dead balls in the final 2 quarters. After all, this exhibition game. Finally, double digits in the point column for SKN St. Polten. Took them more than a quarter and a half to do so. Camden Hyde, my goodness, and the foul. And hopefully he's okay. Chase Martin will come off the bench and take his place, and you hope it's just precautionary, right? It's an exhibition game. No need to stay out there to shoot the free throw, especially up 40 points. And you can see Camden Hyde in the background there, bent over and taking in the effects of the hard landing after that right-hand dunk. Finally, a made 3 for SKN St. Polten. Took a while. See Camden Hyde still holding his lower back behind the Purdue bench as the Boilermakers give it away. Like you said, could have been a tailbone type of issue. Those certainly sting. Wow, this is a rout, and that's putting it lightly. See what Will Berg can do against the double team. passes out of it and turns it over. And it leads to 2 on the other end. And now an SKN St. Polten player slow to get up. There's a nice sidestep jumper connected on. And SKN St. Polten only needs another 15 or 20 of those to get back in it. Martin to the rim. And Chase Martin, the senior to be, only appeared in 14 games over 3 years with Purdue, but getting an opportunity here. And a nice lay-in at the rim.
I saw the entire bench stand up. They know who to cheer for with guys that don't get a ton of minutes. Martin, beautiful finish, and you see a camaraderie type of trip, and a play like that indicates a lot of love and respect for what this team has for really a roster. This team right now could go 10 deep when they're at full strength. Matt Painter, DJ Thompson there. They'll shorten their rotations, but Purdue, it is difficult as this non-conference schedule is, there'll be some tinkering. 0 non-conference losses the last 2 regular seasons. Other than the NCAA tournament, this is a team that's always been a tough out, or a tough, I should say a tough matchup before conference play. And you see it there in Berg. He just kind of dribbles and then decides.
What's the evolution in his game when he sees a double team like that?
He's got to start with a ball fake, and he's got to start with a look opposite. When he ball fakes, he moves that primary defender, and then he's able to decipher where the open space is for an explosive dribble. I would limit his dribbles to no more than 2, preferably 1, and then it's got to be into an offensive move. An offensive move can be a shot, it can be a dunk, it can be a skip opposite. Just got a little bit more explosiveness, as you see there.
Now the 7-2 center from Stockholm, Sweden, with a 2-hand jam in the final minute of the second quarter. And Will Berg has 4 in a row for Purdue.
We'll go on record here and say this will be the most assist totaled Purdue basketball game up until 2024. More formidable opponents ahead, but it's great to see a Boilermaker team willing to drop it off to extras. You pad your stats one way with an assist. That's the type of game to do it.
Chase Martin at the controls as Purdue has a chance to get north of 60 before the half. Lance Jones, NBA range. Offensive rebound, Will Berg, and he got hit on the way back up with just 0.3 of a second remaining.
Times you see your head coach all the way on the baseline right there, Matt Painter, drawing something on the board here. Maybe it's the second half early cuisine or dinner for the Boilermaker players and families.
So 61 first half points for Purdue, just 18 on the other side. And the Boilers very comfortable here in Austria with this big halftime lead. A lot of smiles on that bench. Maybe we'll see some Jace Rail down the stretch. We've reached the half in Austria.